Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to go over oil, gas, and solar. When I say gas, natural gas, to get a good glimpse at what's going on with a technical picture. Again, I just use this to see what we're doing real time. I'm riding this entire bull market, not trading in and out for the valuations. And right now the valuations are about 20 barrels to 1 ounce gold. It's very cheap, and we're going to continue, I think, to compress that ratio all the way down to maybe even 10 or below. So that's a very long runway of valuation in front of us for these companies. Right now, we've come up a little bit on resistance, and I'll show you what that looks like. And you can see what that resistance and where that is. We're bouncing just up on it. We pulled back a little bit. So let's dive in. I'll get right to it. This is the oil, gas, and solar technical analysis. Now here is crude. There's that resistance line that we're coming up on. It's very similar to uranium. Uranium's coming up on a resistance line as well. We bounced off of it, hit it again, came back. We're coming up. We hit it again. Now, I have a feeling that we're going to continue our way upward, hitting this resistance line and kind of bouncing back and regathering itself. It's recharging its battery, so to speak. It's resting right now. But I don't suspect this to just have a blowout where we go back all the way down to $62 or below or something like that. But we will cycle and oscillate, hitting this resistance line over time, I think, until eventually we break it. And natural gas, looking at natural gas, we have this black candlestick, and what this means is we were cycling up and down here. And if you look at the right-hand side here, and I'm going to draw something in here real quick so you guys can see what I see. We've got the downward days that were coming down like this. Oops. They're coming on down. And they're bigger than the up days coming up, and I'll show you exactly what I'm seeing. And then we've got this black candlestick there. So I'm going to fill them in so you guys can see what I'm seeing here. There's your down days, your up days, and then your black candlestick. And that's what this is right here. The big 3 down days, 2 up days, and it's right on that right-hand side. What this looks like is we've got stronger selling pressure coming down, a little bit less buying pressure coming up, and then we have a reversal candlestick, which is this day right here. The momentum's coming back down. So I think we'll probably cycle or oscillate in this area back and forth before moving on up. And that's on the very short term. I mean, it's almost, if you guys are long term, kind of like I am, these movements don't matter. They'll just cycle back and forth. And we can see it in the individual companies when we look at them. Now here's SM Energy. This is one of our, I call it a cheetah because we can break through resistance lines and it runs up very fast. But we do have a black candlestick here. It's getting a little bit of sellers up here, just a little bit. Nothing big. We don't have huge, big candlesticks signaling a sell-off, a huge sell-off or anything like that. There's no reversal patterns. Everything still looks good. But we are coming into some sellers. So we're going to be very reliant on what oil does, obviously. CDEV was going to run yesterday. We were going to break out of this resistance area. And the resistance area, if you draw it across, is right across the 750-ish area. It's right, if I can grab it, there we go. It's right in this area in here. That's where your resistance is. We went to break out and looks like we sold back off. It wasn't time yet, but it's coming. And this is going to be a break. And we should see a big move higher in Centennial Resource Development at some point. You can see that the lows are continually coming up into that resistance line, and we're squeezing it right now. So CDEV has a potential to break out and move depending on what oil and natural gas do. And Callon Petroleum's in the same exact spot. We've got that resistance here. And what this pattern is a cup and handle pattern that we're putting in. Here's the lead in, the cup, and then the handle. And we're about to break this cup and handle pattern. Give it some time. But when we break above 60 and close above it, there's your signal that we're going to move to the upside. Again, I'm not trading in and out of these. I just own them, and I'm in them for the valuations. And when you have these great valuations, these patterns develop in the middle of the moves. So this is a cup and handle pattern. It's going to break to the upside most likely, and we'll see a large move. The projected move is from $25 to $60, added up on top of that. So it's about $45. Maybe the projected move is about a little over $100, something like that. Sandridge, this is an unhedged, more of a natural gas producer. We are getting a little bit, if you look through and you look at the candlesticks, how big the candlesticks are in relationship. See, on the up moves, we see large buying pressure, small selling pressure. That's analogous to an upward move, but we've got this bearish engulfing pattern right there, that candlestick. We came on down to a bullish engulfing. So the buyers and sellers they're battling it out, dueling it out right in this area. We could have a pullback. We may not. Now, that's not, some of these charts, it's hard to read. And I'm going to tell you, this one, it's going back and forth. It's battling. So we could see a pullback, and if natural gas takes off, we could go higher. Tellurian, this is a liquefied natural gas company. We broke through this downtrend line here, right there. We broke through that, and then you could say we broke through this one as well. And this thing looks fantastic to continue higher over time. Doesn't mean it goes straight up, but it does look pretty good. Grand Tier Energy, another one that we look at. Big buying pressure, small selling pressure all through here. I think will eventually resolve itself higher because of these large buying pressure days in relationship to the small sell-offs. So I think it looks good. Doesn't mean we're going straight higher, but it looks good to continue higher. The characteristics it holds in the chart. And this one, it could almost be a shoulder, head, shoulder, but it highly depends on the price of oil. And I'm still holding on to my Contango shares. Still looks okay. Reconnaissance Energy Africa. This is a small exploration company that could potentially have billions upon billions of oil. We sold off here. Had nice big buying pressure coming up. So it looks like it's recovering. We got to break through what used to be a support line is now a resistance line. And that's right at this area where it's at now. It's right there. So let's get up above this. Let's stay above it. And then I think it'll just be a kind of a washout. But I still own it. I'm still holding strong with my shares. Here's Tetra Technologies. So looking at this guy, come in here, we draw this, and then we draw this line in here. You can see, you can say that we're kind of going up in this channel here, right in there. We're just moving on up in the channel. This is going to break to the upside or downside? Difficult to say. Is it a pattern where we pull back, it goes up like this, and then breaks to the downside? You have to wait and see until which way this thing breaks. But again, valuations are good. I'm holding on to my shares. I'm not doing anything. Now, this is a solar, and I know some people they don't like solar. They like the commodities only. But there's value here in terms of money flows going into this sector. We came in here in this kind of accumulation phase. We broke to the upside. We could come back and retest this line here before moving higher, but we broke through it. That's the important thing. And we've been chopping sideways. And we're doing that on all of these. Beam's doing the same thing. And if I draw it in, it's just a pattern here where we're breaking out of the resistance lines, and we could come back and do a retest before moving on up. So that looks good. Sunworks is on its tip right here. Sorry for not drawing all these in, but we're right at the tip. There it is. Look at that thing right there. We're squeezing up in the tip. Let's see if it breaks to the downside or the upside. And guys, I don't have as much confidence in the solar companies. You know that. I don't know them as well. I'm an oil and natural gas guy, but money, if they're going to try to solve this energy crisis with renewables and solar, these are the companies that the money's going to get flown into. They're all part of TAN. SOL, looking at this guy here, you draw the trend line in, I just draw it on these guys here. We're right on top of our resistance support line. Resistance coming up, support coming back. So we're right there trying to break. Here's SunPower. SunPower is still above its resistance at about, it's now support at $30 a share. So right there, we're up, kind of up here at 32.71. I think this will eventually resolve upward because we're above the resistance. Now fuel cell, a little bit different technology here. It's not solar, but this thing's looking fantastic. It's got that nice big rounding bottom that's happening. I think we'll eventually continue upward. And then we've got Plug Power again. It's that rounding bottom with the bullish engulfing pattern right here being the bottom. So that one also looks good. Will it go straight up? Probably not. We'll cycle back and forth as this thing moves up. But I wanted to touch on that, on the oil sector, oil, natural gas, and gold, or not gold, solar. But everything looks good. Nothing too bad. I don't see any topping patterns in any of these natural gas and oil companies. So what do? I'm going to continue to ride it higher. It's that simple. Solar looks good. Looks like it's trying to put in bottoms. We got that nice big rounding bottom on a lot, or we have the accumulation phase that we broke. It's exactly what I look for in the companies and in charts. If you guys like this analysis, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.